Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, this is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. Your KMA crew, the Italian Scallion, Paul DeGracco, Alex Tavella, a.k.a. The Goat, and always telling it like it is, Honest Abe.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners libertarians and lovers of the leaf. I am your host, Honest Abe, and thank you for joining us on this fine Saturday morning for KMA episode number 434. And as always on my Saturday mornings, I'm joined by the two men I adore the most every Saturday morning, the Italian scallion himself, Paul DeCacco, and the man known as the GOAT, Alex Tavella.
Good morning. Rise and shine.
Bro, I could fall asleep right now. I am exhausted. I'm going to
Late night?
through this.
Yeah, he did a late night, early morning. I got here and I was like, did you go home? And I guess at some point he went home, but obviously it wasn't for long.
It's been a late night, a lot of nights. I mean, we're coming on the home stretch of this warehouse thing. I mean, we set a hard date. So regardless of whether it's ready at this point or not, it's going to go live. And it looks like the date's going to be October 14th. And we're going to be tying it in with not only a opening warehouse promotion, but a national launch event with a major manufacturer, which I don't think I could say right now because the press release isn't out yet. But it's going to be a pretty good shindig, and we're going to put the warehouse and the boys to the test. But we're coming to the home stretch.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right at the first.
Absolutely.
The first
Absolutely. If
it
it works, if everything works after this, it's smooth sailing.
We don't believe in soft openings.
No.
So that's where we're at.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's a good way. You got everything set and ready. You know it's coming, so it's not like it's a surprise.
It's just way more involved than we thought. You know, this whole process has opened up a lot of Pandora boxes. Websites 15 years old. You know, crap laid on crap over a decade and a half plus. You know.
Right. The little fixes now won't work.
There ain't no little fixes. It's new system, new back end. It's opened up a lot of Pandora's boxes and a lot of wallets because it's
a lot of wallets. A lot of wallets. But it's been exciting, and it's going to be exciting.
I don't feel so bad.
I keep telling you, and then when you come crying to me about your Disneyland trips and your depressant dogs and whatever, I'm like, dude.
My dog's not depressed. She's on Prozac.
Yeah, exactly. You're medicated.
She's
dog
sitting behind me.
You're medicated dog.
Medicated.
Happy pills.
You know what it is? Man? It's not that it's so stressful, my work. It's that, like, now that I work from home, I don't have an office for my business. I don't have an office for my day job. Right now we're still doing this remotely. I don't leave the house. My wife goes out all day with the kids and does this and does that and blah, blah, blah. But, like, I don't know, man. There's something to be said about leaving your house and going to an office.
We tried to make KMA meetings back in person. You can't even make it to the shop one night a week.
So listen, this week when you wanted to do it, you wanted to do it at 4:00 on Thursday or sometime on Friday. And Friday, listen, I've been meeting with our general contractor like every other day right now because they basically said to us, we don't really know when the house is going to be done. Probably not in November. And
did you expect any different? I mean, I told you nothing is done and being delivered on time in this universe.
This is the third it was supposed to be September 30th, then October 5th, then October 15th, then November 5th, now November 15th.
I told you, that's never going to happen. You'll be lucky if you have Christmas and New Year's in it. Hate to break it to you, but if you prepare yourself for that reality, you'll be all right.
Well, now my wife doesn't. She said, if we're going to move in December, then we're going up to Long Island and you move the house in. And then when we come back, we'll unpack everything because I don't want to ruin the Christmas holiday with unpacking and moving.
I take that deal in a heartbeat.
Right. Get out of the, get out of the way. I'm going to call a couple people up. We'll have this shit done in half the time. You need to sign on to that right away, Paul.
Move, but I need to be at the house for the move, and then I'll fly up to Long Island for Christmas. We'll see. We just can't wait to get in there, you know?
That move works in your favor.
I guess. You're right. It
works in your favor.
Yeah. Everybody knows it's a good deal but you, and you want to complain about it. Well,
you know what, though, Abe? You and I commiserate with not being around our kids. Do I want to not be around my kids for 3 weeks? I don't know if I want to do that. I could take a couple of days off from them. Believe me, I can always use that. But 3, it would be like 3 weeks without my kids. I don't know. I don't know if
I haven't seen my kids in a month.
That. Stop it. You see them when you go home, no?
What are you talking about when I go home? They're asleep when I go home. I see them for 5 minutes when I drive them. I get home on a Saturday afternoon. If they ain't doing shit with their friends on Saturday or Sunday, maybe I get a couple hours in.
Right.
Yeah, Alex, you're lucky. You're still at that age where he's kind of home all the time. Now, my 2 oldest, man. Oh, can I go to the?
Because they're always out
with my friend. Yeah, can I go to my friend's house? Can I go do this? Can I do that? And now they're leaving. And Petra, another 3 years, will have a car. I'll never see her again. She won't have a car, but she'll be driving.
Talking about Alex's kids, dude. That video,
funniest
of Carmine
ever.
With the chicken. Oh my wife and I was showing my wife, and I put it up on the TV because we were watching something streaming, and I was like, you have to watch this. This is what we're in for with Axel if we don't nip this in the bud now.
Do it early.
Did he eat
what?
it?
No, that went on for an hour and a half later sitting at the table. At some point, somebody had to budge. And he wasn't budging. So what am I going to do?
What's funny is he won't pull that with my wife.
No.
You're so right though, because my kids don't. Axel doesn't do that with my parents. He eats anything that they give him there.
My brother-in-law's kid used to be the same way. He would eat nothing but like white rice and macaroni and cheese. And when he comes over to our house, my wife won't play that game. And he doesn't do it to my wife either. But Carmine was like that. When Brandy used to help watch him for a day or so a week for a while, and he was like that when he first started staying with us. But I just got to tell you, and I couldn't record it because I was using my phone to show it, but I so wanted to record all my kids watching that video. They're like their highlight reel of the day. They die laughing so loud, and
they know crying. And love Carmine.
Wait, and crying, especially my middle girl Zane. Because she's like my goth, maybe she's the one that could go to the dark side, and she laughs so hysterically.
She had an evil laugh.
And she begged me. She goes, "Can you please send that to me so when I'm not feeling like when I'm feeling down, I can watch that video." I mean, she loved that video. That video is hilarious.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened afterward, but I don't know. But then from that night, the next day, Carmine decided to go and build a vending machine. My son is in the vending machine business now.
Oh, good. Listen, man, that's a good business.
No, he sells chips out of a vending machine now from that experience.
And he sells it to you and Marissa?
Or anybody. Anybody wants to go walking around. $1.85 for a bag of chips.
Wow, $1.85. Wow.
Inflation, man.
I like this kid.
So, he went from he took that trauma and got into the racketeering business.
My favorite is Marissa in the background, just walking in the bedroom like nonchalant, whatever's going on out there. I don't care. He doesn't want to eat my chicken.
He does not.
It looked like good. It looked like what, like slow cooked chicken or something?
Yeah, it was crock pot chicken and dumplings. There was nothing wrong. He doesn't like anything textury. I mean, he'll eat dry chicken. That's dry French fries, maybe a little ketchup. So poor Marissa can't win with him. And I was not. Listen, I'm not cooking chicken nuggets and French fries. Eat it or go hungry. And we played a game.
So at that point, like if he doesn't eat, he just doesn't eat dinner that night.
No, fuck him. You either eat or you go to bed hungry. I'm not cooking other shit. No way, because then you're stuck that way. You're stuck. Then you're making your meal and his meal all the time. No way.
We never had that problem with our kids because our kids eat like locust. Just everything. But like,
did they always, Abe? Because Axel used to be like that. I remember talking to you guys about it. He would eat anything. He would eat my sushi. I asked the doctor, is it okay to give him like like sushi grade tuna? Because he always wants.
Carmine was like that too, and he took a turn. He took a turn somewhere.
It happened right around 3 years old.
Brandy never acknowledged the turn. She had this thing like even if they saw something like sushi for the first time or whatever, right? She'd be like, take a bite, chew it, swallow it, and then if you don't like it, you can let me know. So she always made them eat something. Yeah, and they always succumb to it, and obviously some form of my genetics is in all of them, so they're just eaters. All of them, they're eaters. But I'd see her do that to my like nephews. They'd come to the house and like they want their chicken nuggets or whatever and French fries, and like no, that's dinner. You can sit there and eat it. No, but mommy ain't here. This is dinner. This is what you get. We're not a restaurant, and
you're in Aunt Brandy's house now.
Yeah, man, Aunt Brandy's house. So
that's my wife has a half sister that's much younger. She's like 12 now, but it used to be that way. Like every night, her mother, there were 3 things that she would eat. So every night, her mother made a separate meal for her. And Stephanie's like, "What the hell is this?" When we were kids, you'd put squash in front of us. None of us liked squash, and if we didn't eat it, too bad. So when we would take her out though, and I would just say, "Take a bite, have a piece of shrimp. If you don't like it, tell me, and then we can do something else." But she always ate everything we gave her.
Something went left in parenting. I don't, because I see it with a lot of kids, especially my kids' friends who come over. Like all they eat is like Kraft macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets. That's like yeah, that's their whole diet of kids. I'm sure it started out with, well, it's convenient and quick.
Right.
But I get up in the morning to make school lunches sometimes because I refuse to let my kids eat school food.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
That's why I don't understand my kid, because this is the same kid that'll eat a full octopus tentacle, not even cut.
Yeah, I've seen those pictures. Yeah,
I don't know.
Honestly, I think he was having a little bit of fun with you too. He was laughing as much as he was crying.
Absolutely. But once he gets psyched out, he was psyched out. There's no way I'm eating this. I'll throw it. It was it.
Yeah, he went into that zone.
Then it was a game. It was a challenge.
Yeah.
He wasn't giving in.
And guess who won?
He won. He didn't eat. I mean, I think he ate 2 pieces of corn for dinner, but at some point I'm not sitting at the table. You have to go get a bath at some point, so okay.
Especially at 5 years old, like I feel like that. Listen, if they go to bed without dinner, they'll be fine. There's no issue. We still like worry. Like my son could go 3 days, 4 days without eating anything on protest, and we've done it, but he is so miserable to deal with.
I got the complete opposite problem. I have to mark territory and like literally put notes on shit. No, yeah, like I've been eating salads and stuff, so my wife will usually cook some salmon and fillets and put them aside, so I'll throw them on top of salad. So I made the other night like 2 big pounds of shrimp, so I could just throw shrimp on top of my salad. But I literally had to mark the container, touch this and die, because that container, which should give me about 5 to 6 meals, could be gone like in 5 minutes.
Right.
So
who eats it? Asher?
They all do. They all do, man. Asher was, before he could walk, was crawling to the pantry. I got pictures of this. Was crawling to the pantry, pulling himself up, grabbing the cereal boxes, and just exploding them all over the floor, trying to get them. They all eat like locusts.
Eli does that too. But I'm afraid he's going to make that turn like Axel did. I don't know. Everyone we've talked to said that there's usually like a phase where they go through this, and you just suck it up and tell them like
just ride it out.
Eating, and you don't
got to ride it out.
But it is tough, man.
You just got to ride. After Carmine's bath, he had the balls to ask me for a snack. Sure, I got a snack. It's chicken and dumplings. You want some?
That's great. That's true. They do that.
Yeah. Yep, I get that too. Popcorn is the big one in this house. Oh, man.
Our snacks are pretty much, we got popcorn, goldfish, and Ritz crackers, and fruit.
Goldfish are my weakness.
My kids eat a lot of fruit, man, and and that shit ain't cheap. I mean, fruit ain't cheap. They eat a lot of fruit, but I'm glad they do. But man, they go through it. They go through a lot of fruit.
We go through a lot of apples here, not so, and like tangerines. They love those too, which is fine. I'll give them that with their breakfast. That's fine. They can have some fruit with their breakfast. But he'll do like some of his grandparents will say like, "All right, if you eat that bite of pancake, I'll give you a jelly bean." I'm like, no. It doesn't work that way. Don't give them candy for breakfast. So,
you guys are lucky you got 2 kids, because it's a lot easier. Because like when you have 4, like I got one that loves pineapple, but the other 3 don't, and I got one that loves plums, but the other 3 don't. So you end up you gotta get all these varieties just to make sure like each kid's got something, at least something they like.
You got $100 fruit plate.
It's
from
disgusting.
The grocery store.
It's disgusting.
Expensive.
So where are you at? Are you in town? Are you back in town now? I don't even know. Somebody asked me in Whereby last night. Is Paul still producing the show? Wait, I think it was Alan Rubin. I think I kicked him out right after that too. But my response was, when did he start?
You know why? Because he sent me a suggestion for a guest,
I know the suggestion he sent you. He probably said, because Alan has a habit of doing this. He will send somebody something, and then you'll come to find out that he sent someone else the same exact thing because he feels that he needs to get his.
Well, I said to him, I said, listen, I'm kind of taking a step back from the actual booking, like booking people, but I'll send it to the right people. And he wanted to know who. And I said, I don't really know, like pretending like I have no clue what's going on with the show.
I know exactly.
And I sent it I think I sent it to the group chat with you guys, but this is like 3 weeks ago. But now I imagine he's probably going to all these people and saying, hey, get this guy on. So maybe he thinks that I'm not involved. I am back in Florida. I've been back here since the weekend, I think.
In the slums of Wellington?
Dude, we met. Listen, this is
with
terrible.
The uncut grass?
Tell the story. Yeah, the grass right now, right outside our place, is like up to my knees almost.
The problem is he doesn't even realize you're ribbing at him.
No, he doesn't.
He's like,
get it. I know
he's commiserating with you. Let me tell you about the guy. He's commiserating.
I know he is. We had a kid come by yesterday, asked to play with Axel. I was like, oh yeah, awesome, great. I mean, like if you could pick a child that looked more like Opie from Andy Griffin with the buck teeth and the really nice kid though, and he was 8. So I was like, I don't know, he's gonna be too rough. But they were riding their bikes around in the driveway here, so. Thankfully, and then the people next door to us just moved in their building as well, and they're delayed in the town over to us. So they have 2 kids. So it's we're turning the community around, man. We're all taking care of our property, making it look pretty here now.
Well, literally right before the show, like 15 minutes before the show, I get a video from my wife.
Uh-oh.
Alex saw it. Well, he actually heard it. And he said, "Did I just hear that right?" I'm like, "Yep." My newly turned 7-year-old son is asking his older sister, the baby of the 3, who I keep telling him, you need to stop listening to her because she's just going to get you in trouble your whole life.
She's not the one to get advice from.
Well, she's also the instigator and the influencer. Like if there's something dangerous or something naughty, it's like, Asher, go do this. And he's like, okay, so you got to stop listening to her. But
there's always one.
She takes the recording and he's asking her, is the word sex a bad word? 7 years old. Now, mind you, my son, out of all 3 of them, is still at the phase where everything is naturally, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. He won't say a bad word. If somebody else says a bad word, he freaks out.
Right.
If we're watching a show and I'm not sure where it's at and there's like a scene that comes up that could be like somewhat sexual. Like I didn't realize it was like a PG-13, but he'll cover his eyes. Like he's still at that mode, right? Like he knows. But yeah, he asked my wife, is sex a bad word? So now I think I have to go home today and have a semi birds and bees discussion with my 7-year-old son. Now, mind you, I've been spared this for 3 children.
Yes.
I haven't had to deal with any sexual. Alex, do me a favor. Lower the monitor. Tilt it down a little bit.
I got you.
Because there you go.
I see it.
Because when Paul puts the banner, you're like, coming off the thing. But I've had no sexual conversations with any of my kids.
You got away with it. 3.
Yeah, my wife handled it. Or the girls. Getting their, menstrual cycle, sex, boys, all that stuff. And my wife's really like straight up. Doesn't beat around the bush, open with it, wants them to know and feel comfortable. So now, after 15 years of marriage and 4 children, I have to have my first adult talk with my son.
Did Brandy say, like, listen, Asher's you got to deal with him with that?
No. No, but it's kind of given. I mean, I wouldn't, I don't want him growing up with, her perspective on stuff, Not for a boy.
Yeah, that's true.
Not for a boy. I mean, let's be real. I mean, there's different perspectives. I got to show this guy the ropes. But
I'm trying to remember if I ever had like a sit down conversation.
Hell
with my
no.
father about that. Yeah.
Hell no. My dad never even acknowledged anything.
No, me neither. Never.
One time, my mom put on TV. There was like a children's television workshop special on like ABC or something about how to teach kids about sex. And she like sat us down in front of the TV. She's like, here you go, watch this. And it was like graphic cartoons, and I mean, I remember watching that when I was like 10.
When we're in the 5th grade, which is how old that make you? 5th grade. Anybody remember?
10,
11, 10, 11,
9, 10, 11, somewhere around there.
They had started sex education in my school, so that's when you started watching the stupid videos and
yes,
and the stuff like that. But that's that and your friends.
Did you go to public school?
Yeah, I went to public school through high school, and then high school
I did the opposite.
Catholic school.
There was none of that. There was none of that in Catholic grade school. Yeah.
No, I went to public
high school too.
Up until high school, then my dad said, I need to straighten this kid out.
In junior high, it got real graphic. Then the videos got real graphic.
I was the opposite way. I was Catholic school, then public school.
I was a little bit of a showboat in grammar school, and had a lot of fun and whatever. So I wasn't really hardworking, diligent. And it's amazing what happens to your school performance when you take girls completely out of the picture. I mean, you don't worry about what you look like in the morning. You don't worry about how you go to school. Huh?
I could see that.
Yeah. It was all boys Catholic high school. Yeah. I went to all boys Catholic high school. So you take girls out of the picture, man, all of a sudden I became an A and B student real quick.
There's so few distractions.
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of worked. So it got me into college. So I can't blame them for that. But listen, I went to grammar school with these kids up until 8th grade. For all these kids, and I was the only guy who didn't go to the public high school. I ended up leaving, so it was I wasn't thrilled about it at the time, but in the end it all worked out. But yeah, I'm a little bit now trying to figure out how I'm going to have this talk with my sons, considering I've never received this talk. I've never heard a dad give this talk. I've never had to do it before, so this will be interesting.
Maybe you should go to talk to your kids about sex boot camp.
I should just silently record it just for documentary purposes. So 20 years from now, I could play the conversation back to him.
Oh my God. Yes. And his questions.
I'm curious of what he's going to ask me, because I don't know what he knows and what he doesn't know.
Do you think he just knows the word? He probably just knows the word.
I don't know if he knows what the word means.
Right.
I don't know if because I don't know. And the problem is that, you say at 7, we didn't know nothing, man. But today, man, these kids are rampant, because listen, our kids are kind of under a semi-control. They don't have YouTube. They don't have Facebook. They don't have free access. The older ones are getting slick and they're figuring ways around it, but, they're not exposed to it, but their friends are,
Yes. Yeah.
Some of their friends in their school probably got access to porn already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, easily.
So yeah, I don't know what he knows and what he doesn't know. So this is going to be a really intriguing conversation.
Well, that should be your first question to him. All right, sit down. Sex. What do you know?
Well, first I'm going to ask him, where did you hear it, and how did you hear it?
Right.
My math teacher was asking me about. I'm like, oh, okay. I need to know where he heard it for the first time.
Yeah, I had to have one of those tricky ones with Carmine with regarding the N-word.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah, which is it's a tricky one because you have to really it's a different echelon of bad word. It's not just bad word. You have to.
Right.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
And where he heard it and the context in which he heard it.
Well, the problem at that age is they end up hearing it too, where it's kind of not a bad word. So
Correct.
It's very confusing for them.
Right.
Correct.
There's a lot of music.
Correct.
Yeah. Music, especially my wife's family.
Right.
It's I've heard it said this and that, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a tough one, man.
That was a tricky one. It was tricky, but I think I navigated it. It's a tough one.
Casey's question. That should be your first question.
I'm going to be interested. I am going to record this. I'm going to record this for future purposes.
Get a release from him. Get him to sign a release so we can play it on the air. And
so before we get to our Meet Your Maker segment, we haven't discussed Alex's background yet this morning.
Oh no, we have not.
I'm having some background issues, but I'll.
I always thought that was at the top of the steps.
It was.
Did they move it?
They moved it.
Did they really move it?
I remember seeing it at the top of the steps.
They moved it. They moved it.
Why did they move it?
I don't know.
Too many people were running up to the top of the steps?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they moved it, but they moved it.
That's like moving the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
You can't just move shit like that.
Well, they technically did move the Statue of Liberty. It's now technically Jersey.
Wait, when did this happen? Did they move it?
What? The Rocky? I don't know. A few years back. I don't know why. I don't remember why they moved it, but they did. They moved it in some off corner for some reason. I don't know. So, you can see it's still in range, but it's not at the top.
You still see the building,
Which kind of makes running the steps, which I've never done, a little less.
There's no point.
Yeah, there's no
Maybe that was their point. Don't do it. They don't want people doing that. Everybody
now I gotta Google to find out why the Rocky statue was moved.
I feel like Coop will have an answer for us. Coop, and we need that in the scoop.
All right. Well, we have a first-time guest. I love when we have a first-time guest. We're popping cherries here on KMA Talk Radio. Always good for me, for us, and our listeners. This is not a new guy in the industry, but maybe not as out there and well-known as he should be. And we're going to find out a little bit more about it. Let's hit our Meet Your Maker segment.
I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell.
It's time to meet your maker.
For the first time on KMA Talk Radio, Mr. Ram Rodriguez from El Artista Cigars. Ram, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How's it going, guys?
What's up? Good morning. Thanks.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here, Abe.
So, Ram, a lot of people may not know who you are or know of the company, but you and your family have been in the industry not a short time, very long time. Why don't you give us a little background on your family history to start things off?
Yeah, so we've been around for a while, for sure. Our company was founded in 1956 by my grandfather. His nickname was Pulita, and we've been making cigars initially for the local market, in the little market in Tamboril, my hometown. And during the 60s and 80s, we were selling our cigars all across the country. With the cigar boom, we started selling products in the United States.
Now, in the 60s and 80s, when you said you were selling cigars all over the country, were you selling them directly to consumers, or were you making cigars for other companies?
We've been making cigars for other customers, but back then our main business was a brand called Puro Cibao. That cigar was sold in grocery stores all across the Dominican Republic.
Got it.
Yeah. Nowadays,
the cigar boom. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So nowadays, we are selling our products in many countries, including the U.S., Canada, so few countries in Europe, in Asia as well. And we are probably one of the biggest leaf growers here in the Dominican Republic right now. And we also grow tobacco in Ecuador, where we also have operations.
So you're not a small operation by any means.
No, it's not like a small, tiny operations at all. We actually have around 1,200 staff working with us. And we have operations all across the Cibao region here in the Dominican. Now,
you were telling us the background of your family, and you got up and you started saying, and then during the boom, what happened during the boom?
During the boom, a lot of big changes happened, not only for us, but for everybody. Cigar became a mainstream, as everybody knows. So my father took the opportunity and he relaunched the factory. Back then, we were known as Tabacalera Puro Cibao. He changed the name to El Artista. And he actually co-owned a small cigar shop in Queens, New York, where he started presenting some of our brands. Then in the early 2000s, we started focusing a lot in private labels. Currently, probably around 75% of the cigars we manufacture in our company are for private labels, and the rest is our house brands.
When did you guys make the transition to start making house brands?
So we've been doing that for a while, but mainly through exclusive channels. We start taking it a little bit more serious around 9 years ago when I jumped in. I had the idea of opening our own distribution company in Miami and start selling directly to as many retailers as we could. At first, it was more like a side project, more of a way to attract more companies for us to make private labels. Then with the FDA and all the turmoil out of all those regulation changes, we realized that the future of the cigar industry, there was not going to be that many private labels anymore. So, and that we had to focus a little bit more in our own brands.
Now, I want to. We're gonna in the second half of the show. We're going to talk about some of those brands, but I want to talk about one in particular. One I'm going to light up right now, because I'll tell you a story, and I'm making a prediction here on KMA Talk Radio. Rocky Patel for many years had a okay business, Indian tobacco. It really wasn't going anywhere, and he was struggling. And then I remember, I went out to Naples. I had to visit him for something because I was doing a private label program with him for a while. And he showed me these 2 new lines he was going to release at the trade show. He was changing his company name from Indian Tobacco to Rocky Patel. And my first response is, dude, no one's going to buy a cigar with the name Patel on it. It was literally my first response to Rocky. I said it to him outright. I'm not trying to be offensive, but unless your name ends in Alvarez, Rodriguez, something. I said, who's going to buy from a manufacturer Patel? Another one of my very wrong predictions. And at that time, I think the cigar was being Mike General, and it did very, very well. But what cigar you think put Rocky Patel on the map?
Edge.
Undoubtedly. The Rocky Patel Edge, another product that I saw at the trade show. This is the first time someone was putting it on regular retails, only available in a 100-count box at the time. I'm like, this is the dumbest idea ever. Ever. I feel like Sal Fontana right now because he was notorious for making these awful predictions. And that cigar put that whole company on the map. It really, really did. And my prediction is the cigar I'm lighting up right now, if you haven't heard of this Buffalo 10, this beautifully box press cigar, it's a $5. This is going to be your Rocky Patel Edge. That's my prediction.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
In your own private brands, this is going to be. How long has this brand been out?
It's been out for 3 years. Every year we've been introducing a new blend to it. This one was the last one, the Connecticut, which is the one that I have right here. So it's been for 3 years now, and but it's been amazing actually. We've been out there for a while and getting a lot of good feedback from cigar smokers all over the place. Now with this one, it's been just crazy. It's been quite a challenge to keep up with the demand. And we are just impressed of the results and the feedback we're getting out of our Buffalo 10.
Someone walked me over to your booth at the trade show this year, and I'd heard of the company. I heard of some of the lines you had. Nothing that really had big traction here, but I remember walking your display and seeing this cigar. And then when I saw the price point on it, and then you guys gave me a couple of smoke, I'm like, this has got to be one of the best. This is a $5 cigar. This box press cigar is a $5 stick retail, full retail. This has got to be one of the best $5 smokes. And we bought in the line, and currently
Wildfire.
Yeah, it's selling like wildfire in the stores. We just got this SKU up online on the web. I don't think there's product shots of it up yet, but
yeah,
the description for the Maduro and the Natural are up online, and your other brands will be coming up in the next week or so. We're getting to the end of entering a lot of stuff, but this is available at smoking.com. $5. Yes, it is. I put the inventory up before the show, bro. When you get up early, shit happens.
All right. Good man.
Okay.
It was either that or I was going to log in real quick.
No, I knew he was coming on the show, and I knew we were going to talk about it, so why wouldn't I make sure it was up and available? But yeah, it's available at smokin.com, like I said. And I got a feeling this is I mean, it's selling like wildfire. It's been in our stores. We just didn't have time. We had to take product shots and copy. And
I was just going to ask, it's available at the stores too?
It's available at the stores. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, and they were saying, the guys were saying, we're out of them. We were like, there's no way we're out. We brought a ton to the stores. There's no way. It's impossible. We're looking around. I got people looking for it. There's no way we're out. And we were out, man. We were out. Wow. This thing took off.
Yeah. So I'm called. We're going to talk about your other lines a little later on the show. I want to still talk more about you, but I was lighting this up, and I'm calling it right now, Buffalo 10. I don't know how you've been out for 3 years and this didn't come across my radar, but I'm telling you, I got a feeling this when this gets more and more out there, and people hear about the cigar who haven't heard about Buffalo 10 at $5. I can smoke this all day, every day.
Wow. Okay, that's saying something for sure.
Yeah. So
that's my next cigar.
I'm telling you. So,
and it also comes in a great packaged 5-pack.
Right. It comes in a cube of five packs put together, or you could buy, if you buy 5 at a time, they have 5 individual packs. You can buy them by loose by a stick, but solid smoke. So Ram, so your family had this business. Did you grow up thinking you were going to go in this business, or what were you going to do?
To be honest, not 100%. When I was a kid, I was all over the place, I guess. When I was probably like 13 years old, I wanted to be a doctor. And
wow.
Then a computer engineer or anything but tobacco. Main reason why, I guess, is because I've been going to the factory every single day since I was very young. The rule in my house, I never had like an allowance. It was more like a salary more than anything else. The rule was that after I do my homework, I have to go to the factory and trying to learn as much as I can there. So
that's great.
I always knew. Yeah, now that I see it, I'm really grateful that my mom and my dad were so insistent with that. They never push me like, oh, you have to be part of this industry, but they were making me understand a little bit of the process in that way. And so I never had it was like a salary. I have to go every day during a summer vacation. It was even more serious. I have to go for the whole morning, and I actually went through all the processes in the factory. Just as an employee. So one day I was sorting a tobacco leaf. Next day I was helping coordinate the logistics of the warehouse, for example. And when I was 16, I went to my first PCA, IPCPR back then, and it opened my eyes and made me realize what happened with the cigars after you put it in a container and close the doors of it. For me, that was the end of the history. But then when I realized how much of a culture and a lifestyle the cigar is, I fell in love with it. And that's when I realized, yes, this is what I want to do my whole life. And I'm very happy and proud to be part of it.
Did you get to work under your father and your grandfather at the same time?
No, unfortunately, I never met my grandfather. He passed away 4 years before I was actually born. So, yeah.
Wow, sorry. So how was it like working under now? Is your father still involved in the company?
Yes, my father is still involved with the company. He managed all the growing operations, the sorting facilities in Ecuador. He's in charge of that as well, and he deals with the leaf business because that is actually our most important side of the business, tobacco trading. And so at first, I am and I always will be, I guess, the little kid of my house. So sometimes I have some ideas that I believe are very good, and he's like, this little kid, So at first it was very hard when I was in college that I started taking the work very serious. he actually didn't want me to open the warehouse in Miami, because he told me you have no idea. You don't know the culture of that country. You don't know how business goes over there. There's no way you're gonna be able to manage operations overseas that easily. But I've been gaining the trust, and right now I'm kind of in the process of getting a little bit more involved on the tobacco trading side, and I'm bringing back all those old memories of him, trying to advise me on not to do the ideas that I have in my mind.
It's tough because the older generation they weren't as progressive a lot. I mean, my dad, they almost disowned me because I left the family business to move to Florida. They said, "What are you doing?" I mean, literally three times disowned me. So, and they try to do it with the best intentions, but they're not always right. The good parent realizes when they're wrong and backs off. But yeah, I totally understand that struggle. I also tend to find, and I'm curious what you think about this. Outside of the rare anomalies of a guy like Saka, who's just a data freak and gets really he gets more in depth in making a cup than probably they did putting together the space challenge, the space show.
You can say obsessive compulsive.
Yeah, challenger. But I tend to find that the families who actually grow tobacco tend to make cigars a little bit better because they understand more about the leaf and the blend and the product that goes into making a cigar.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And since you have so much control from the seed to the actual final tobacco, you are able to know on time what is going on with the crop that you have in bales in your warehouse already. And so usually, we are tobacco sellers, and we are 100% sure of what we have in our warehouse. And we tend to take what we think is the best for our cigar making side of the business before offering to somebody else. And there are a lot of reasons why what you're saying is truth. If you have control of everything, you can basically be able to make an outstanding product and something unique first than anybody else, because you grew it.
Right.
Unfortunately, in the sales, it's not always about the product.
Yeah,
that's the struggle I have a lot of times when I talk to manufacturers or brand owners who come in here, because perfect example is, take a look at the Plasencia family, right? They've been making great cigars for other people forever, like since before I've been in the business, and they struggled for a long time trying to come up with a brand. It's not because they don't know tobacco. It's not because they don't know how to make a cigar. They just didn't know how to get it out there and market it. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I think it might be their second or third attempt at really building a brand.
Yeah, we talked to them about it on the show.
Yeah, they hit a sweet spot. So, I mean, that's a perfect example because, even though they didn't have a brand that sold successfully on their own for many, many, many years, they were making Grand Slam hits for almost everybody in the industry. So I always thought that, it's like wine, right? You could private label wine, buy finished product and really not know anything about it. Or you could be the guy who's watched the grapes grow, know how this harvest was, what was different. And I just tend to feel I like guys who grow their tobacco, who make cigars. I think they have a better depth of understanding of what they're actually making with the product.
It makes perfect sense. And what's fascinating to me reading about Ram and El Artista is think about the way that I grew up knowing cigars, and my grandfather smoked cigars, my uncles smoked cigars. Like, I knew the lifestyle before I knew any of this side of it. And Ram grew up the opposite way. Like, he knew nothing about the culture of cigar smoking. He knew like the back end, like where the tobacco comes from. And I find that such a fascinating way to start your journey into cigars, Ram. And you have to notice that's unique among a lot of people in this industry, that that really what pulled you back into something you've done your entire life you saw like, this is the finished product. This is the lifestyle. This is the culture behind this product that takes so much hard work and sweat and blood and tears to make.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it was not that easy at first. Cigar making and cigar commercialization are two completely different industries. And when I started, I felt like, oh, I know everything about cigars, so I'm pretty sure creating a brand and selling them is going to be very, very easy. I was so wrong, I made so many mistakes at the beginning just because it's completely different, it's a completely different industry. And it doesn't really matter how much you know about cigars and how good are your cigars and the quality of your tobacco. If you don't know how to put your cigars out there, you're just going to fail.
True.
The Abe says that all the time, right? You can have the best cigar in the world if it's not put out there properly or marketed properly.
Well, it's not like it was. It's not like it was many, a couple decades ago plus. There's a lot of people making great cigars, good cigars, and it's a very plentiful field. Your odds of walking into a humidor today and finding something absolutely putrid and awful is hard. It's not that easy. Where back when I first got in this business, half the humidor was filled with that kind of stuff, so it's hard. So how do you make yourself stand out so that someone tries your brand? Because, and then look, it's all a numbers game. The more people you get to try your brand, the larger percentage of people you'll find that will like your brand, because you can still have a good brand that's not your cup of tea. There's good beers and there's good whiskeys and there's good tequilas that some people don't like. It's not their cup of tea. I mean, there's great stuff. It's just the way it is. So it becomes a numbers game. And, guys who get in the business for themselves and don't understand that struggle. And that's why I was kind of very excited to do this show, because, it's very seldom I go to a show, and especially when it's a company, I wasn't even planning on seeing Ram. I wasn't planning on going to the booth. In fact, his importer is a very, very good friend of mine. The brothers, actually. And in fact, if anybody watched the Digital Great Smoke, Chuck Girardi, who sings the theme song to our show, him and his brother are importers, and they import a lot of cigars for manufacturers. And he just said I had to do him a favor. He begged me, you got to come meet this family. They make great cigars. I'm like, Chuck, I'm running around, I'm putting orders in the house, but Chuck's, they're great people. They do a lot for us. So I said, all right, let me walk over there. The first thing I saw this stick on a shelf on display. And I thought this was going to be like a $10 cigar. Literally. When I saw the price point, I said, this is a $5 stick. I said, all right, now I got to smoke it and see, how this is a $5 cigar. And literally, after smoking the stick, I turned my operator guy like, yeah, we're placing an order. We sat at the show. I said, you guys got to come to, I asked him, I said, how often do you come to Miami? He's like, whenever I need to. I'm like, you guys got to come to my office. And him and Kevin came to my office, and we sat and we talked. We bought in the line, and we bought in some of the other lines too, which we'll talk about after the second hour or two of the show. But yeah, this is my prediction. This is the winner. This is going to put, this is the gateway. This is like the gateway drug. This is going to get people. Yeah, this is the gateway drug. This is what's going to start people off on El Artista Cigars. If you've never heard of it, or never had it, this is your gateway drug to really start experiencing some pretty good blends and cigars. It'll be very interesting.
We're going to run out.
Oh, really?
We're going to run out.
I guess I should get over there.
I bet. I'm just saying. I think we're going to run out. I mean, listen, it's a great cigar. It's a great price point. And especially once people start smoking them, it's going to catch traction. And I agree with you, Abe. And it's going to catch. It's already, it caught like wild. I mean, just seeing the store and how it went. It's.
And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I like gloated a little because my operations guy thought I was crazy. Matt's like, you're not bringing that. I said, hell yeah, I am. And I said, I don't know about the other cigars but this one is a grand slam. And if they like this one, people will want to try his other stuff. Bring the stuff in. And I'm not always right. I've made some bad calls, but I love it when I see something like that and I pick it and we put it on the shelves. And I don't know if you were skeptical at all. If you were, you didn't say anything, but we put that stuff on the counter, flying off the shelves. So I like when that happens.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So how often do you come to the States, or do you predominantly, work down at the factory?
I predominantly working down in the factory, but I usually go to the States every 1 or 2 months, mainly to the Florida, because that's where our warehouse is at. But I go quite often. Because of COVID, I used to do events every now and then. Because of COVID, everything kind of stopped. And now I have a baby. So,
congratulations!
Thank you.
First one.
The first one. He's 1 year old, and there's another one on the way. You know how we Dominicans are.
You working it, good man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I told him. He said he had a 1 year old when we spoke yesterday, and I was like, "That's perfect. Wait like 3 years, 4 years before you have the other one." He's like, "Well, my wife's pregnant already."
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, just like me."
Wait, why 3 years, 4 years? I specifically told you 2 years is the max.
Yeah, I still think that if Axel was a little bit older and more independent, it would be easier.
No, see, you're thinking of your convenience because you don't want to deal with 2 years. Yeah, you're selfish. It's 10 times. It's 10 times better for the kids when they're closer together. My kids are all about 2 years apart, and the youngest and the oldest get along. 2 of them are in grammar school and high school, middle school and high school at the same time. 2 of them each will be in college at the same time. It just, my brother and I, 5 years apart. I mean, we're brothers. We're kind to each other. We love each other, but it's hard. It's hard to really bond when there's a big gap between them, because you got to remember, when you're 30 and 35, doesn't care. You understand? Yeah. But the bonding years are when they're 3 and 8. What is an 8-year-old doing with a 3-year-old, or a 10-year-old doing with a 3-year-old?
That's true, but I'm 4 years younger than my sister, and she's 4 years younger than my brother. So you're right. When we were kids, I really didn't bond much with my brother, who's 8 years older than me. But now, I talk to him every day.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky. But a lot of times those relationships don't develop because you didn't bond as children. Like I know my baby girl and my son, they're 2 peas in a pod. They will be notorious throughout life. I'm sure they're going to get in trouble together. I just pray they don't get arrested together at some point. But those 2 are notorious, I mean, and it's just good to see them all like that. 2 years is a good number. 2.5 is a good number. You're doing it right. Don't listen to him.
I agree. You're not thinking long term.
Back now.
You're not thinking long. I wish I could have had him earlier. You're not thinking long term, Paul, because the closer they are in age, the closer you get them all out at the same time.
Exactly.
You got to think long term.
That is true.
Exactly.
That's kind of what we thought, and we were like,
right.
Yes, let's not wait too much time.
We got 4 kids, and it's only going to be a 4-year span before they're all gone.
Yeah. And we don't want to get rusty on the game either. Yeah.
And plus, who wants to go through diapers and late nights like 5 years later?
Exactly.
We had like a 6-year total streak of diapers and baby feeding and we were done. Yeah, it was done. Over. So that being said, all right. Well, we got to take a break, Ram, but we're going to come back with Ram after the break. We're going to do our as the record spins. We have a good question from our good friend Eddie Guerra over at Avo Cigars. We're going to talk about some of the other lines you make, some of them attached to a very famous person other than the Buffalo 10. We'll talk about that in hour 2. We got the Scoop with Coob, and the first episode of season 3 of Tail of the Tape. I got a feeling this Tail of the Tape season is going to cause the most comments and arguments and debates out of all 3 seasons so far. So we teased it last week, right?
We teased it.
Yeah. Tail of the Tape, season 3, the best mafia movies. So This should be very, very interesting. And I'm going to let people know now we have a best of next week because I will be at the Cigar Snob 15-year anniversary party. We've been with Cigar Snob for 15 years, so it's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Good for them.
Yeah, they're having a big function down in Miami, and I've been burnt out, so me and the missus are just going to go for Friday and Saturday night and stay down there and come back Sunday and just make a little staycation out of it and get some rest up, because literally we'll be coming out of that and rearing up for the warehouse day, so it'll be interesting. So stick around. A lot more coming in hour 2 of KMA Talk Radio. Keep it lit.
Surgeon General warning: cigar smoking can cause lung cancer and heart disease. Currently available at your favorite cigar store, the Romeo y Julieta Reserva Real Nicaragua is another fantastic collaboration between AJ Fernandez and Rafael Nadal. Landing a #1 cigar of the year of 2020 by Cigar and Spirits magazine, the Reserva Real Nicaragua is handcrafted at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez. This Nicaraguan Puro is a medium to full-body cigar that is packed to the brim with flavor notes of leather, coffee, and red pepper, which pairs nicely with a spiced rum. Available in 4 sizes, Romeo y Julieta returned to prestigious form with the Reserva Real Nicaragua that should be enjoyed by all. Surgeon General warning: cigar smoking can cause lung cancer and heart disease.
Oh, hey. Being a dad's not easy. Gotta enjoy the little things. Ever hear of a sippy cup? Yeah, that's not apple juice. That's Sunal. Bonner Private Wines. Our friends over at Bonner Private Wines have a really, really great deal for KMA listeners right now. All you have to do is go to KMAWines.com, check it out, and we will give you a discount on shipping and a discount on the 3-bottle package. In that package is Sunal. It's a wine from 8,950 feet in the air. It's one of the hardest vineyards to get wine from. The vines are under stress, the wine is delicious, and it'll get you through days like these. When you have lots of things to do and it feels like it will never end. So go to KMAWines.com and join the rest of us dads while we get our kids prepared for the day and just need that little extra kick. It's a Saturday. It's okay if we do day drinking. We're dads. We enjoy it. We're allowed to have some fun. Here you go, buddy. You have yours. I have mine. Cheers. KMA Wines. Oh, that's for daddy. KMAWines.com. Check it out.
Hello? Coop, shame on you first.
Can you hear us?
I can hear. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
What happened? Did you lose connection after the video?
I can hear you. I can't see anything.
No, we could see everything. It's your connection.
Yeah.
But Coop, shame on you. That commercial's about
old as dirt.
It's
that's old. That's older. It was like I'm gonna play an old one, and maybe they'll forget that it's a rerun. So old it's new.
So here's my thing. God, how can I rip on Paul when he's not on the air?
Yeah.
Because you get to a point where you just realize
I'm here.
You just get to a point where you just realize the utter patheticness of something, and you just realize that no shame, nor money, nor anything will change it. So I'm going to do something here. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, because you suck, Paul. Let's just get to it. You can't even make one new commercial a month. We bought you a $300 microphone set, which I want back because you ain't using it. It's worthless in your hands.
I have an idea. I feel like your idea is probably the same as my idea.
I got an idea. We're going to make this fun because I like to have fun, and Paul's a non-fun guy.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm going to do. In fact, I prefer you just stay off the rest of the show if we're lucky. So this is what I'm going to do. Anybody who's watching KMA, watching the show now, watches it later, I don't care. All right? And I'm going to make this retroactive. That's the kind of guy I am. Submit us your best Bonner wine ad. And if we use it on the air, we will send you a $100 gift card to smoke in. How's that? All right, make us the best Bonner wine. We gotta make some kind of graphic and post this on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll
Monday.
do it.
But make us the best Bonner wine ad commercial, and if we use it on the air, we will send you $100 gift card. And I'm gonna deduct that out of Paul's salary. Now let's see what happens. That's the new shtick there. I hope we get some entries. I'm gonna send Kevin Shahan a retroactive $100 gift card because we used his commercial on the air. For giving me the idea. But that's how we're gonna move forward with the Bonner wine ads. Now, since Paul's not here, can you play the Avo intro?
Yeah, let me
find it. I'll give you a minute to find it. So, Ram, we have this segment that Avo Cigars sponsored. It's called As the Record Spins, and basically, our good friend Eddie Guerra likes to pose our guest a very special question every week to answer on the show for all our fans. So let's hit it. All right, Ram. I don't know if you heard the promo, Paul. Well, there he goes again. Just stay off. He came back just to play the intro.
I'm here.
Ram, this is actually a good question. Is this one of Eddie's or did you make this up?
This is a form of one of Eddie's.
Yeah, this is actually a good question.
I've been altering them, but it was his idea.
I've been asked this question. It's really a good question, and it's difficult. If you had to lose any one of your primary senses, which would you give up and why?
Ooh. That's I'm sorry, my English is not bueno, but touching sensation is does that one count?
You got sight, hearing, feeling, touch, and smell.
Okay.
I said taste. I didn't say taste.
Okay.
Feeling.
No, you won't. Take it back. That means you can't have sex. Take it back.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah, take it back. That's believe me, I thought about this one.
Yes.
Yeah. No one's giving up touching.
No touching.
Yeah.
No touching, please. Probably hearing.
I don't know.
Wow. So why would you pick hearing over everything else? Do you think?
Well,
you
first,
just get by.
I'm in the cigar industry, so anything related to tasting a cigar is out of the question. Because I will starve to death. So that's not there. Touching, like we already talked about that, like there's no way I'm gonna lose feeling. And yeah, I mean, you can survive without listening. You might be even happier without listening sometimes,
Depends who you're married to.
Well, that's truth. Yeah, I'll be happy.
For some people, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
I'm sure for Stephanie, she wishes she could be deaf.
She likes music too much.
So I don't know. I just gotta acknowledge Bo Zaricki's comment. Paul, you're not eligible for the contest.
I didn't hear the contest. I'll get filled in later.
Yeah, you're not eligible. You're funding it, but you're not eligible.
Sounds about right. What are you giving away my pay?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Great.
Pretty much. Anybody who submits I'm making it retroactive, so Kevin Shane is going to get one. Anyone who submits a Bonner wine ad that we use on the air will get a $100 smoking gift card, courtesy of Paul DeGracco.
Wow. All right.
It's very nice of you, Paul.
Thank you.
So if you had to lose a sense, what would it be, Paul?
Wow, that's hard. Smell, sight, hearing. I definitely couldn't be hearing. It couldn't be touch. I mean, it sounds crazy because I love food and I love cigars and I love taste, but I feel like that's the only one I could live without and even then it would be so difficult, like such a horrible thing. But I couldn't imagine not seeing. I can't imagine not hearing. I mean, there's times in my life when I'm like, oh God, I wish I could turn it off. But music and I would have to say taste, just because I can't pick another one, and I think I could live without it, and I'd probably be thin.
Tavella?
A smell. I gotta go with smell. I feel like it's the least of intrusiveness to my life. You know, what am I losing? Farts and retrohales.
Yeah.
you know?
I mean,
I feel like I can most live without smell.
Alex is the most logical answer, but even if you tied in taste and smell as one category, I can still give those up, because I've tasted everything at this point in my life, and like you said, not tasting food.
Yeah, maybe I'll lose my advantage.
Yeah, work to my advantage. Everything else,
then it's just fuel. Then it's just fuel,
right? And then
you get by.
Right. I mean, imagine like everything you ever ate just tasted the same, like chicken, right?
Right.
You just wouldn't care. So,
and I've had this experience with COVID where I lost taste.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think of that.
I was gonna say that because I had COVID and I lost my sense of smell.
Yeah,
and it was not fun. Like having
it's
food
very strange
without the scent. I didn't lose my taste, but I lost my smell, which at the end, is the most important part of it.
Hey, and I promise you, Ram, wear some sound deafening headphones for 2 or 3 days. I bet you prefer to give up your smell than your hearing.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, because I feel like
and it
you
was
feel very lonely.
Yeah, that's truth. That's truth. But it was so depressing just eating, even fruit like grapes. I was eating grapes and I was like, who put salt on this? This is so weird.
If you look at life, I think there's a lot more bad odors than there are really good, pleasant odors. Or that
right.
I don't know though. So much of my memory is tied to smell.
I understand, but here's the thing. You have to actively go out of your way most of the time to smell something nice, right? Go get roses, spray some perfume, some body lotion or whatever. But you're exposed to bad smells without any action all the time.
Yeah,
whether you walk by a dumpster, whether you walk down an alley in a big city, whether you're behind
drive on the turnpike,
right? By the dump. I mean, it's just I can totally give up smell and taste. That's the one I.
You think it would be easy though? See, I don't think it would be an easy give up.
I think it'd be the easiest give up out of all those.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Nothing's an easy give up, but I think that'd be an easy give up out of all. Has anybody watched the series C?
No.
It's with oh gosh, his name is the Aquaman dude, the big dude.
Yeah.
I know who he is. I don't know.
Yeah. The big guy.
Oh my
big
god.
Guy. Yeah.
I can't remember his name. I can't believe I'm dying. Someone type it up already.
Googling it.
Oh my gosh.
I am. My computer's very slow because I'm on
from the Game of Thrones.
Jason
Jason Momoa. Yeah.
Jason Momoa.
So Apple TV it's one of their original series. It's actually pretty good. It's about a post-apocalyptic Earth where everyone on Earth has lost their vision for like a century, like 100 years. No one on Earth. It's gone backwards in many ways. A lot of them have developed other senses, but they live their lives completely blind. And now there are some people who are being born with sight, and it's like the big controversy. It's actually a pretty interesting show. Season 2, I think, is cool. on right now. It's a pretty good concept show. So that was the question.
Because I took.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to thank Eddie Guerra and Avo Cigars. But go ahead, hit your tangent.
I took ASL, American Sign Language, when I was in college as one of my language requirements, partially because one of my buddies was like, dude, you go into that class, it's like 15 hot girls and you. He's like, I was the only dude in there. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I'd like to learn it. And I was exposed to a lot of the deaf community, which apparently on Long Island is very prevalent. And there's many of them that are very anti-cochlear implant that will give them hearing, and many that are for it. So like when their child is born deaf, they like to give them a cochlear implant right away, because if you get an implant later that will help you hear, your brain never really like understands it properly. It's like the people that get a cornea implant after they haven't seen their whole lives. Your brain doesn't know how to interpret it. So it's a weird experience to talk to people that got cochlear implants later in their lives, because they keep it off. They take it off more often than they keep it on, because they like that they can turn off the world. But imagine having the opposite happen to you. People that were hearing their whole lives and then they lose the sense of hearing, feels completely shuttered from the world at all times. So I can imagine that would be one of the most difficult to give up.
Well, I think hearing, seeing, I mean, if it happens any time after birth, it's way more devastating and tragic than being born with it, because that's the only way you know. You don't know what you don't even know what you're missing, because the human body is resilient. It finds a way to survive and cope with whatever you got going on most of the time. But
I'll tell you, if the question was what can I turn off and shut on, it would definitely shut off. It would definitely be hearing. Right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That would be a great ability.
Yeah.
That's why I love Whereby, man. I can just mute people or kick them out of the room. It's awesome.
Mostly the other Alan Rubin. Yeah,
right. All right, Ram. Let's start talking about some of your cigars other than the Buffalo 10, which we've already talked about. But you can tell us a little bit more about this cigar. But I want to start with a very interesting line that I'm sure this is the one if people have heard of. If they haven't heard of your company, they probably have heard of the cigar. The Big Pappy line you have. And it's by David Ortiz. How did that whole brand happen?
Yeah, so everything started because we've been sponsoring his celebrity golf tournament for a while.
In the Dominican Republic.
In the Dominican Republic, yes. He makes the David Ortiz Celebrity Classic. The last year and this year it will be in Marco Island. Because of COVID, they decide to not to do it in the Dominican Republic. And so everything started there. For all the events, we always had a rolling table, making some cigars right at the spot, plus some other of our products sitting around and everybody smoking. David Ortiz, he was when everything started, he was still active at the Boston Red Sox. He didn't used to smoke like every single day, but he enjoyed a cigar every now and then. In one of those events, he told me like, "Hey, I want to have my own cigars." I was like, "Let's do it," let's gather in the factory and start blending together. I thought it was those were gonna be just like an empty comment that he was not gonna be paying attention to. But around a month after that, I got a call from his manager. David wants to see if you can have him in the factory next month to blend the cigar. I was like, yeah, sure. So we came up with the blend with the original Big Papi, the one with the red ribbon. And after that, we start shipping him probably like 100 or 200 cigars every 1 or 2 months. When he announced that he was gonna retire, we throw him the pitch like, hey, let's start selling this cigar and see what happens. And I actually signed the contract with him the night before his last spring training game. And to be honest with you, baseball here in this country is a huge thing, but in the States it's even bigger, and we have a lot of baseball players, and we admire all of them. But I didn't have any idea of how big the name David Ortiz was in the United States. And he invited me to that last game. When I saw that everybody was wearing a Big Papi jersey and everybody with big signs saying that they're gonna miss him and all of that, is when I realized, like, wow, like, he's huge. you know.
Oh, he's no lightweight. I mean, he's a 7-time,
Yeah.
Silver Slugger, and I think he still holds the record for most home runs in a season for the Boston Red Sox.
Yep. So and the charisma he has is just impressive as well. After the marathon bombing in Boston, he gained the heart of everybody in New England and the United States. So the agreement that we had, because he was still active, we were not able to sell the cigars, but we started, making the boxes, the bands, and everything. And that year we introduced the cigar in IPCPR, but we were only taking pre-orders because we had to wait until Boston Red Sox were out of season. It happened in October. We did a small release party in New York, and after that, we started selling the product, and it really helped to put El Artista name out there. Right now, we don't only have the original Big Papi, which is the one that is on the screen right now, but also the Slugger. The Slugger is the second blend that we create with him as well. It started in 60x7 ring gauge. For this year during PCA, we also introduced a new size, the Robusto size, 50x5, with the same blend. Wow. And we have done a lot of fun stuff, like limited edition humidors. We have done some other like special editions. Last year, I'm sorry, we hired a local artist that did a portrait of David Ortiz, and we replicate that portrait he did on a humidor. And David actually gave us a present that humidor to the new president, and a picture with David Ortiz with the new president and the humidor was on the headlines here in the Dominican Republic. So everybody was talking about it. Everybody was talking about the artist as well. That really made me happy, because that was the intention, to expose that artist a little bit. And yeah, I mean, it's been great working with him and all his team.
So is he involved in, now that he's retired, is he involved in the culture and the lifestyle? Does he go? Does he do events? Is he out there at all? Does he come to a trade show, or does he take the back seat with the brand?
So he has been at PCA, and we have done around 10 in-person shows so far. And we are talking about some events that will happen next year as well. Unfortunately, after the issue he had where he got shot, he decided to lay low a little bit, but now he's getting back there, and so I'm pretty sure he's gonna be out again soon.
Well, hopefully, maybe we can get him to the Great Smoke in 2022. The last, I think that'd be great if we can get him out there. I think there are a lot. That's the plan. It'll make a lot of people happy if we can get him out to the Great Smoke here in South Florida.
And it's driving distance from his house, which is
even
good
better.
Well.
Even better. So, all right. So, tell us about some of your other lines. One of the ones I'm interested in is the Pulita, because that's the one that you guys named after your grandfather, who got in the business.
Yes. So Pulita was released 5 years ago. Pulita 60 aniversario. We did it to commemorate the 60th anniversary of our company. We decided to go with this brand with the name of my grandfather. I asked for the blessing to my grandmother that was still with us in that time. And what I was looking for is to create something that resembles of what my grandfather used to smoke back in the 60s. I started checking some blending information from his notes, and I realized that he used to use a lot of a tobacco called Negrito. Negrito is a Dominican seed that was very popular back in the 50s and 60s. When I asked my dad about it, he told me that it lost popularity over easier to grow tobaccos like Piloto, Olor, Criollo 98, Corojo, and all the seeds that we are currently growing on the island nowadays. And that seed, it was not out there anymore. It was going to be a challenge for us to bring it back. I talked with the guys from the Dominican Tobacco Institute, and they did have some seeds, and they gave to us, and we started trying them to grow. It took us around 4 years in order to get a seed resistant enough to grow it on commercial levels. And our goal was to use it as wrapper on the Pulita line. It took us a while, but we were able to achieve it. As a matter of fact, it's not a very easy tobacco to deal with. It's not resistant enough to handle the climate changes and problems in the farms. But we get enough for the Pulita to use it as wrapper. You also use it as binder in some of our products as well.
Is it a medium or fuller bodied cigar?
It's more like a medium full body cigar.
Okay. How about the Exactus?
The Exactus was actually the first brand that we introduced to the market when we opened our warehouse in Miami. At first, it came with 3 different blends in 5 different sizes, which it was probably one of the things that was not a very good idea for a new guy introducing a brand in a market that he didn't understood. It's a very good cigar. The Maduro has a wine fermented wrapper from here, from the Dominican Republic.
Really?
Now, yes.
So when it's wine fermented, do you just put it in the barrels that the wine was made in?
No. So instead of using water in some of the fermentation stages,
really,
we use wine.
So when you add the moisture while the tobacco's on the big polones, you're using wine instead.
Yes. So what that does is that it adds a lot of sugar to the tobacco, and it heats up like crazy. So you really need to know what you're doing, and there's a significant percentage of the tobacco that will get damaged because it will overburn.
Really?
But you end up with a very oily tobacco with a very beautiful dark color and with quite some interesting characteristics on it as well.
So I'm just curious, when you use the wine, and you don't have to tell us which one, but do you use
Bonner
a certain? Is it Bonner? No, that would be a great commercial. That could get you $100 gift card and smoke in. Is it the same wine every time? Does it have to be? You use the same select wine every time?
It's the same wine every time.
Wow,
interesting.
So if that wine goes short, you're not making cigars for a while.
Probably.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting to know. Because I imagine if you use different,
I didn't know that.
I imagine if you use a different wine, it would affect how the tobacco cured.
Right.
Yes,
fermented.
absolutely yes. It is all a matter of sugar content more than anything else. When you smell the tobacco that has been gone through one fermentation process, after is well fermented, you don't feel like a lot of significant notes of that wine. The reaction it has on the tobacco is more on the color of it. So I'm pretty sure if you use like a Porto wine, for example, that has a extremely amount of sugar, the tobacco will be completely different of what we're getting right now.
So be honest now. Have you ever caught any of the employees just taking a little wine break while they're on the job?
Well, that's quality control if you think about it. You need to make sure the wine has the right characteristics.
Did you ever walk by and the guys working on the polones just looked a little too happy today?
Yeah.
Is that something that is done? Because I've never heard that before. Is that something that is proprietary to you? Is it something that they've done and other people have done?
I'm pretty sure a lot of people do it. At the end, they do it mainly on the filler because if you don't know what you're doing, the tobacco is really gonna get stained with different spots of colors. So
right.
Yeah, so but at the end, the famous betun that a lot of factories use, most of them are wine-based betuns. So it's very common to use wine for fermenting tobacco.
What's a betun?
Betun is usually a blend that a cigar factory makes that adds a lot of aromas to the cigar. So wine is usually the main ingredient. They usually put like cloves, pineapple, or some spices or fruit. And when you have a cigar and you do a cold draw on it, and you feel a lot of like very strong smells and aromas that are not natural for the tobacco, most likely it has some betun on it.
So you learn something new every day. I've been in the industry forever. I've never heard that term.
Really? That's impressive, actually, because there are some very big names out there that are famous because of their secret betun formula.
Interesting. Wow, there you go. Learn something new every day. And to answer Jeff Walsh's question, all the cigars that we've talked about from El Artista will be available online by the time we get our warehouse open. But the Buffalo 10 is available now, which is the last one that we didn't talk about. Tell us about this cigar and how you ended up making a cigar like this and then decided to make it a $5 cigar, because I know some people just aren't going to believe the quality of a cigar that can be sold at $5.
Well, so Buffalo 10 is a product that we decided to create mainly as the gateway drug, as you said.
There you go.
As a door opener for the humidors out there. We started with the Maduro version, where we have San Andres wrapper and Negrito binder. And we had this outstanding cigar, and we were really aiming to a particular price point. We decided to keep it very simple on the band and on the presentation in order for us to be able to afford the price point we are looking for on this line. From the beginning, it was extremely popular. You see only one color on the impression, everything very nice and simple. And even the blend per se is a very simple blend. A lot of floral and sweet notes on it, with some good intensity, mainly in the Maduro one. From the beginning, it was very successful. On the first PCA when we released it, during the show we actually sold what we forecast for the first, like from July to December. We sold that in a month, so it started very, very strong. Then we decided to release the natural version, which has a Habano wrapper from Ecuador, from our farms in Ecuador. Always aiming to keep the same floral and sweet notes as the original Maduro version. And then this year we released the Connecticut with Connecticut wrapper from our farms in Ecuador as well. For me, that was the biggest challenge out of the three, because again, we wanted to keep the same notes, the same sweet and floral. Everybody knows Connecticut tends to be more on the bitter side, more than on the sweet side.
That's why I don't typically like Connecticut cigars.
Yeah, and this is not at all. I mean, it's really not bitter one bit, which is impressive.
That's what you're smoking, Alex?
Connecticut, yeah.
I that's so true though. We've talked about that I always find Connecticut cigars a little too bitter for my taste.
Yeah.
Even when you just put it on your palate before you light it, the leaf is just bitter naturally sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So we were able to achieve similar notes on this one with the binder. The little secret on the Buffalo 10 Connecticut is that it has Cameroon, authentic Cameroon from Africa as binder. That really balances out and hides a little bit of that bitterness. Obviously, it's a Connecticut cigar, and you want some of that unique characteristics of the Connecticut wrapper on it. So it just marinate perfectly the Cameroon and the Connecticut inside this blend.
Interesting. Good stuff. Well, Ram, we're excited to see what more lays ahead for you and your company. Is there anything you got going on that you want to share with any of our listeners?
So, well, since I'm not traveling that much, that has given me time to play around with some untraditional fermentation processes and to create some awesome blends that we actually have there in the lineup waiting to be released. So new things will be coming soon. We are actually working with a very special tobacco now that is called Vitrinche. And soon we're going to have a product with that tobacco in the market. The Vitrinche is just a crazy tobacco to work with. It's very thick and oily. It can only be used for filler and just a little bit, just because of how intense it is. And since the pandemic started, I've been playing around with trying to ferment that tobacco in not a traditional way. And we have got some very crazy results out of it. And soon we're going to have it in the market, hopefully by next year.
All right. Looking forward to it. Well, it's that time that we all look forward to. Our man with the updates on what's going on in the cigar industry every week. It's time for the Scoop with Coop.
Hey, yo, what's my theme music?
The Scoop with Coop. Breaking industry news. Hear it first on KMA Talk Radio and cigar-coop.com.
Coop.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Coopster.
Hey, good morning, Ram. How you doing?
How's it going, brother?
Good, my friend. Abe, I got to agree with you on that Buffalo 10 as well. I know when we had those coming back from the trade show and we went back to our house that we rented, we were blown away by those cigars for the price point.
I'm telling you, I don't think there's a better $5 cigar. I don't think there's a better $6, maybe even $7 cigar out there. This is a ridiculously great cigar for $5. I'm shocked. This is why I see the horse in the race. I'm putting money on this horse. I like this brand. I like the cigar. Packaging is clean. Cigar tastes great. Construction has been stellar. I'm smoking it all the whole show. This is going to be a grand slam.
I agree. I really, the Connecticut that they just came out with is my favorite of the three, actually, too. It's fantastic.
So,
before we get to the news, Coop is actually right on the Rocky statue.
So what's the scoop with the Rocky statue? Why do they keep moving it?
So they moved it from the art museum. Go ahead, Coop.
Okay, I'm sorry, Alex. Yeah, so they did it obviously on the art museum for Rocky 3. And then there were a bunch of people that said, well, this is not really art. It doesn't belong at the museum. So they moved it down to the old Philadelphia Spectrum for a while. And it stayed at the Spectrum except for a brief time when they brought it back to film Rocky 5. Then they put it back at the Spectrum. And then finally in 2006, I think that was around the time the Spectrum got torn down.
Closed, yeah.
Yeah, they said, okay, let's put it back at the art museum. Time had passed, and I guess people thought about it differently at this point. And then the other thing is that there's been several of this. I think they've replaced the statue a couple of times. So I don't think it's the original one that's there.
So they've never actually meant to have it there where it was in the movie.
Right.
I wonder how many people go to visit Philadelphia and get disappointed.
That it's not at the top of the steps?
Yeah. I mean,
that's the other thing. They moved to the bottom of the steps. Yeah, that's the other key thing. Yeah.
That's exactly what if I was in Philly, that's exactly where I'm going to go and look.
Yeah.
The only time I ever saw it was there. I never saw it move. But did you know that Sly commissioned it himself?
Yeah, he did.
It was for the movie.
It was for the movie, though. Yeah. He had no idea that this was going to become a landmark after Rocky 3. So, and it did. I mean, but for a while it was down at the Spectrum, and you know what? No one really complained that it was down at the Spectrum. I think it had a good home at that point. But like I said, once they kind of tore the Spectrum down, then I don't think it would really fit outside the new arena. It just wouldn't fit outside that mantra. So they put it back at the art museum.
Great venue, by the way, Spectrum.
Oh, I mean, it was. I mean, the new arena is much more bells and whistles, but that Spectrum was so intimate. It was just too small, and it did have luxury boxes. But what an arena that was! I agree.
A lot of hockey. I watched a lot of hockey at the Spectrum.
There's nothing like watching Flyers hockey there. Yeah.
All right, Coop. What's the scoop?
Yep, light week in news, but I'll give you kind of some of the headlines that came up. So we talked last week about that $96 billion tobacco tax increase proposal that's going around the House of Representatives right now. And the update on that is it has cleared the House Ways and Means Committee, which introduced this. So now it goes up to a budget committee, and then it's going to go kind of make its way eventually for a floor vote if it stays in there. But the language wasn't changed by the Ways and Means Committee, so it's still as is right now. I just got one comment on this. We have to do a better job with grassroots in the cigar industry with getting people to sign these petitions and alert Congress people, because I just see people put them out. They put them out on social media. Yeah. They just put them out on social media and people think they're done. Like, I really think what you got to do is you actually got to go to someone and say, hey, sign this thing. And if everyone did it, then if everyone got one person to do it, you'd be surprised, because our numbers stink every time we do these things. We don't have enough of these numbers. And
can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
I just feel like this is where the CRA fails on the consumer level.
I agree. This is look. I'm a CRA ambassador. This is part of my job, and it's important that I do that too. I'm not saying do I do it all the time. I need to be better at it. I'm going to be honest with you. And the other thing is the CRA needs to keep the partisan politics out of these emails. If you're trying to get, look, I understand the partisan issues when it comes to the cigar industry. Don't get me wrong, but you need to keep the partisan politics out of here right now. When you send these emails, you can't go pointing fingers in the emails, and that's what they did this week. And I think it was a miss by that as well.
By this time, a network, like a well-oiled machine, should have been in place. CRA now has got to be going on, 15 plus years?
Yeah.
I mean, by this time, any organization, everything should be the push of a button by now. And it's not. I mean, whether it's a CRA or IPCPR, whoever's, supposed to be leading this, it should be, okay, this is what we're going to do. You call this district, you get this guy. It should just be like a well-oiled machine.
No, and it's not. You're 100% right, Abe. I mean, we haven't made any progress in this area. If anything, maybe we've lost a step with it right now. You're 100% right. I can't argue with that.
We lost a step, mostly because look, it's twofold, right? One is anytime there's a little win, like we got like a little win with the warning labels, everybody's like, "Oh, okay, great." No, it's nothing's changed.
Yeah,
and the other thing is that the problem is that so many times a lot of these bills are used also as leverage, right? They'll put something insane there because they want something else, and then before it goes, and then catastrophes are averted, and then people just think, oh, it's another. I mean, I remember when S-chip was coming out, they had everybody, oh, it's going to be $10 a stick and and all this stuff. It ended up being a 40-cent tax, which was still astronomical compared to the 5 cents it was,
right?
4.5 cents it was, but not devastating to the industry. I think the education, the fact that people have to understand that every little thing eventually becomes a big thing, and they have to treat everything like a big thing regardless. And there's just not enough education or motivation or incentive or structure in place. And every time something like this happens, it's with the amount of people who actually really enjoy premium cigars out there, it's sad the turnout that happens.
It is. It definitely is. And we've seen it, like I said, these numbers over and over again. We talked about the GoFundMe thing. And they're still, that GoFundMe thing that they want to raise $60,000 in 60 days. They're still well away from that number. They're not going to hit that number at this point. I mean, so even something like that, they can't get anything going with.
Primarily because people don't believe.
Yeah.
If you don't believe, it's hard to support something. You know,
true.
Put a sick kid up there, you'll raise $60,000 in a couple of weeks.
That's you don't want a sick kid up there, obviously, but
no, but
that's obviously what you should hit at first. Yes.
You know, I mean, a story or a couple. I mean, a family whose house burned down. You know, people are very giving, very compelling. I mean, you know, I seldom ever get involved in it, but one of my dearest friends, like he's a brother to me, his son's fighting stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I just felt compelled to share the post. And like, just from the moment I shared it till now, it's maybe been a little over a week. That fundraiser got almost $10,000. Just guys donating $25 and $50, and there were some big ones in there too. But I mean, you know, it's because they don't believe. You know, that's the problem.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, because we've seen the cigar industry, when it comes to helping people out time and time again, come through. So it's not the industry, you know, it's not the people in the industry, because we know that happens. I think you've nailed it, Abe, on that.
The NRA does have it down. That when the whole creation of the CRA started, it was named CRA because it sounded like NRA, and it was supposed to model what the NRA accomplished, and of course, it's fallen very short of that.
Yeah, it has. It has. I agree. I mean, because we won't go down that road.
Nope. What else you got, Coop?
Some news out of Ferio Tego rounds out the week. So, Ferio Tego has brought back a brand called Ancora, which may be one. It came from the Nat Sherman portfolio. Yeah, came from the Nat Sherman portfolio. That was the accessories line that Nat Sherman sold. So, what's most popular in that line are those grid ashtrays. So they have kind of the checkerboard grid where your ash can dump into the base of the ashtray, but the ashes won't be on the top of the ashtray. It's kind of a cool design. Yeah. And they have some executive humidors as well, which actually are very good humidors. So they have now begun to relaunch that line under Ferio Tego.
So accessories?
Accessories. Humidor and ashtray.
Humidor and ashtray. They were the Nat Sherman accessory.
That ashtray is cool.
Yeah. I like
that. That ashtray is great. That ashtray is great. They have nice wood finishes on it. But Nat Sherman was known for that. Those things, they sold them up in the stores in New York a lot too. Yep.
All right. Well, good for Mike.
Yep. And then we got one other story from Ferio Tego this week. And because it was a light week in news, they're working with a company called Humidifif Group USA, and they're implementing another version of this smart packaging technology. So we're starting to see these NFC chips that are getting embedded. We saw Placencia do it with cigar bands. Now, with the Ferio Tego products, they're going to have an NFC chip embedded into the box. So again, you can kind of put your phone up against the box, and then it's going to give you information on the cigar. It's interesting. I think these things are cool, but to me, Abe, I don't know what you think.
I would never use it. I would never use it.
Wouldn't you want to have it as shelf talkers in the store? You wouldn't even want it as shelf talker in the store.
I don't like shelf talkers.
Okay. But at least someone could go in a store and look at it and find out information.
I'd rather talk to the guy working there.
Right.
Because one, I know I'm going to get an unbiased opinion. You know, I mean, there's look, we're dudes, we're men, we like cool gadgets and neat things at the end of the day. But what is that chip going to tell you that you can't just Google and find out online in about 5 seconds?
That's what I was trying to figure out, and it's going to drive the cost of the packaging up, obviously.
For what? I mean, I don't get it. It's just one of those things that, let me do something cool and different. But what practicality does it really have? I will never scan it. I'm never going to pull out my phone and scan a cigar. If I want to know a cigar, I'm going to Google it, or I'm going to talk to a guy who's behind the counter. Yeah. You know, when I go into some place where I'm unknowledgeable with a product, if I'm buying TV, I try to assess if a guy can find somebody who's going to tell me the honest truth about what's the difference in these TVs and try to give me an honest opinion. Because I'm going to ask a manufacturer, he's going to tell me all the good stuff about his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's just never the natural tendency of me as a human being to go in there and start scanning this to get the awesome tale from the company that's making it. You know, I mean, whether it's cigars or any other product. You know, if I Google, you know, Vizio, at Best Buy, and I scan something video, I'm going to get this awesome documentary from Vizio on how awesome their TV is and better than everybody else's. What are they going to tell me?
Yeah.
Yeah, even with shelf talkers, I feel like the only line where shelf talkers really work is Perdomo, and it's not even because of the information on there; it's because it's part of the really
Packaging.
well done packaging.
Yeah,
shelf talkers eventually become broom sweepers. They get swept up on the floor.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about the shelf talker saying I got this 95 rating 9 years ago.
Right.
I think it's like Alex said. The Perdomo one's really a great example of one. It's got information on the cigar. It's kind of like you can look at a glance and you can say, all right, I can at least learn something about this cigar with a glance. I don't have to plot anything. Yeah.
I've had this conversation before Perdomo could teach a master class on merchandising.
Yeah, I had masterclass. I've been through his merchandising presentation, and it's unbelievable. I mean, if you go on the factory tour, they do it at the end of it, and it's fantastic.
Masterclass.
I agree.
They are by far they by far are leaps and bounds ahead of any other company I've seen as far as merchandising, displaying, continuity of packaging, design. I mean, their stuff on the shelf just looks awesome.
Yeah.
And he's meticulous about it. That's his baby. You know, Nick has talked to us about it. I mean, he invested a lot of money in merchandising to figure this out.
It's hard. I could see Ram's wheels turning here. It's hard to take something that has maybe 15 different looks, right? 15 lines, 15, 20 different looks. Put them all together on a shelf, but instantly when you see that section, you recognize it all as one company. That's hard. That's very hard to do.
Very hard,
You look at a Perdomo setup, you got a gold box here, you got a black box here, but it instantaneously, you know that all of it is Perdomo. I've seen two companies, different brands next to each other on a shelf, and you wouldn't even know the same company made them.
Right.
You know, and they don't realize the power of that on a shelf, real estate. But Perdomo, in my opinion, could teach a master class in merchandising. By far amazing. Is that all you got for us, Coop?
That's what we got this week.
All right. If people want to see what's going on, what you got coming up this week on cigar-coop.com?
We're into a heavy review cycle right now. Drew Estate Bauhaus, which is a Liga Privada that went to Europe, is going to be reviewed on the primetime show this Thursday. We have on the father-son team of Luis and Alec Cuevas of Casa Cuevas Cigars.
Interesting. All right, good stuff. Well, I think this might be the segment everybody has been waiting for today. I got a lot of PMs and a lot of messages and comments. I think it's going to be the most controversial season of Tail of the Tape. This is season 3, best mafia movies. Let's run it.
All right, Coop, here we go. Tail of the Tape, season 3, top mafia movies. A lot of pressure here, but I'm very confident in my list. Coming in at number 10 for me is Bugsy, 1991 film starring Warren Beatty and Annette Bening. It tells the story of Benjamin Siegel, longtime associate of Lucky Luciano, Meyer Lansky, and the architect pretty much of Vegas. It's a very Hollywood film. It's a very cinematic, very stylized film. Kind of comes before the grittier mob type films coming out of the 70s and 80s, but really does a good job telling the story, and a classic movie. Also a Warren Beatty pet project. He didn't just star in it. Go ahead, Coop.
Nice pick, Alex. So I'm going back to 1978, and I don't know if folks remember this movie. It's called Fist, FIST, and that's an acronym for Federation of Interstate Truckers. This is a Sylvester Stallone movie where he plays a a warehouse worker who kind of rises to the ranks of union leadership for a truckers union. It's very much a play on the whole Jimmy Hoffa and the Teamsters.
Right.
So it's kind of the rise and fall of this union leader and kind of the interactions he has with the mafia. I think it was a fantastic movie by Stallone, by the way. I think it was a really good acting performance by him in this movie, for sure. I mean, you kind of put the Rocky character aside with this character, right. Johnny Kovac. He was great.
Well, you got Steve.
How is it possible? Huh? How is it possible Coop picked a movie that I don't know?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, listen, if anybody's going to pick obscure movies you may not have heard of with all the great, it's going to be Coop.
I knew this is not an obscure movie. This movie it was the first movie he did after Rocky. It got a lot of play in 1978. It's 42 years old. I get it.
It's going to be the one that people will know the least.
I don't know. I got two old
ones.
Yeah,
I've never.
I'm going to teaser. I got two old ones on there. I'm sure Coop has at least another old one.
I got older ones than this one, but I guarantee you, Alex, are in the top 5. We have older ones than this.
I like Chris Daniels' comment. So you gotta have to explain why at the end of the season why Goodfellas and Godfather didn't crack your top 10.
I'm so scared.
I'm still taking hits about Hulk Hogan not making the list. So
you may never live that down. That could be
I may never live it down from those guys.
It might be what you become known for over your career.
Yeah.
How did Hulk Hogan not crack your top 10? Well, that was an interesting start. It'd be interesting to see how this season. God, I mean, this would be the tough one for me personally. I mean, this one would be. I mean, I think some of the other ones I could have gotten to make my picks easier. There's just so many good ones. It'd really be hard to pick the top 10.
Yeah,
I am so curious.
Yeah.
It gets tough when you get down to like 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm confident in my list.
No,
you have your whole list already, Alex?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll take some hits, but I'm prepared.
I'm prepared.
Oh no.
So, Cooper, you're not coming down next weekend, are you?
I am not coming down next weekend. What's next weekend?
It's the Cigar Snobs 15th anniversary party.
Yeah, but I am planning on coming to Florida, so very
when?
soon.
When?
Probably late October. So
should have came to October or bust.
Yeah, I have stuff going on outside cigars that's distracting me right now that I have to attend to. That's why I can't make it down to the Cigar Snob thing.
Actually, before we finish the show, keep him busy for a couple seconds, Alex.
I can do that.
So all right, I'll ask you something, Alex.
Go ahead.
What do you think? We got one more week of this thing to try to win the division with the Phillies.
Oh,
it's so gut-wrenching, Philadelphia fan, because it can happen, or we can just completely blow it. Like we saw in August, we got hot and lost 4 straight immediately. So it's typical gut-wrenching, Philly fan, sports fan, and then there's Abe.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, we finished the season with the Marlins, so we're screwed. Is all I'm gonna say, because I can see we play the Braves and the Marlins. I can see us like, all right, we beat the Braves 2 out of 3, and then get swept by the Marlins.
Right,
that's exactly what I can see happening. Yeah,
right.
So I had to show off our new Socialite Smoke-In Socialite robe that are now available. It's available only to smoke in Socialites. So if you dig this robe, this is actually very plush.
That's nice.
Nice robe.
That one looks good. It fits you, right?
Yeah, Abe, good job.
It gets in me. I mean, look. I probably like it a little bit bigger, but yeah. I mean, I'm a big dude, and this is like
a little bit bigger
for me personally.
I can hide my entire
bigger
self.
One?
I can hide my entire self in that robe.
That's the bigger one.
Toe.
That's the bigger one. It gets around.
So it closes.
It gets around. Yeah, it gets around.
That looks cozy.
It's super cozy. Let me tell you something. Only available to smoke in socialites. You got to be a socialite. So if you're watching this show and you don't belong to our Facebook group, it's a lot of cool stuff and a lot of fun we have there. In fact, we have a lip sync contest going on. Did you see Quentin Thor's lip sync? He didn't even know the words to the song.
I didn't, but that doesn't surprise me.
He had to be half in the bag when he recorded it. But either way, if you're
sounds like a guy who owes you $1 for the last 2 years.
Not $1.
20.
Oh, 20 signed dollar.
20.
Who
Yes.
20s? What a dope.
Well, I think he doubled down once or twice. I think it built up to 20. But yes, whether you like the robe or want the robe or not, check out our Smoking Socialite Facebook page. It's a lot of fun. Great group of people. It's a great place to be. And then you get cool stuff. You get chances of cool stuff like this. So
that is nice.
Be one of the cool kids. All right. Well, we're off for next week. Ram, thank you so much for joining us this week. It was great to have you on for the first time, and I'm looking forward to having you on again and again and see what you're up to. Keep checking into you and see when that Buffalo 10 becomes your you get your big mansions from all the Buffalo 10 you sell. Because
I'll open a buffalo farm in the Dominican Republic. When
that would be cool. That would be cool.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I'm very happy to be here with you. And thank you for everything. To everybody, we are on social media at El Artista Cigars, and thank you everybody for smoking El Artista.
You know what we didn't talk about? I'm going to mention it really quick. Is I didn't actually know about this until a trade show, but Sindicato, who makes Particulares, Casabella, one of our best-selling bundles, Affinity, which is a good Connect cigar, Sindicato, their flagship name brand, which was always been a cigar I enjoyed. In fact, the Maduro version was rated, I think, number 2 or 3, I think, or maybe number 1, a Cigar Journal, European Cigar Journal magazine. There's a new Sindicato coming out made by you in your factory, El Artista. I saw the packaging at trade show.
Yeah.
Very, very good looking product. I didn't get a chance to try one at the show, but they haven't landed yet. But I'm happy to see you involved with that company. And can't wait to try that product, the new Sindicato by El Artista.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that project. It's going to be called Sindicato Artista by El Artista. And yes, I'm very excited about joining to the Sindicato project with this first product. We have the cigars already. They're aging, and hopefully soon we're going to be able to have it out there for people to enjoy.
We can't wait. We're looking forward to them. Coop, as always, thank you for your contribution this week, my man. Looking forward to seeing you when you come down. You other two guys, have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Paul, try not to work too hard. Other than that, have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for joining us on your Saturday morning. We hope we entertained you, taught you, and made you laugh a little. We'll see you back in 2 weeks. Keep it lit.